In the beginning, there was harmony. The celestial realm was a glorious expanse of infinite beauty. At the center of this divine landscape stood the throne of the Most High, surrounded by angelic beings, each one more splendid than the last. But none was as magnificent as Lucifer, the morning star. Lucifer was the quintessence of perfection, his youthful visage framed by flowing golden locks. His multicolored wings shimmered with ethereal light, casting an awe-inspiring glow upon the crystal temples. His silver-white armor was inscribed with divine symbols, a testament to his lofty status among the angelic choirs. Beside the throne, he stood vigilant, orchestrating hymns of praise that echoed through the heavens. The angelic choirs sang in sublime harmony, their melodies weaving through the paradisiacal expanse like a living symphony. But in the spaces between these hymns, a subtle discord began to stir. It untangled slowly, unnoticed amongst the harmonious currents, until it found its form within the introspective gaze of Lucifer himself. A pivotal moment took place before a mirror of light. Here, Lucifer stood alone, his reflection an illustration of serene beauty. Yet, his expression shifted almost imperceptibly from serenity to a delicate hint of pride. The reflection, once an unblemished representation of angelic purity, now conveyed a whisper of ambition. In secret chambers and secluded alcoves within the floating temples, Lucifer convened with small groups of angels. These gatherings were hushed but fervent, with Lucifer speaking softly, his voice a melody of persuasion, drawing the angels close with the promise of a new truth. His form remained unchanged, his angelic visage maintaining its captivating allure. However, a slight shadow began to creep along the edges of his wings, hinting at the inner conflict that simmered beneath the surface. Finally, the rebellion could not remain a mere internal struggle. The time came when Lucifer stood defiantly before the throne. The once warmth of his expression now turned cold. His eyes a poignant mix of determination and indignation. Behind him, a third of the heavenly host stood in silence, their hearts divided between abiding loyalty and the alluring call for change. The atmosphere shifted, a profound tension draping over the beauty of the celestial realm. The golden skies darkened subtly, foretelling the impending plummet from grace. Yet, even in rebellion, the scene retained its breathtaking elegance, a fusion of beauty and darkness, light entwined with shadow. This tale of Lucifer's transformation from heaven's most glorious archangel to the subtle beginnings of his rebellion was one forbidden from retelling, except by its participants. The depiction remains a reminder of the fragile dance between loyalty and pride, light and the encroaching shadows of desire. The heavens tremble under the weight of the impending clash. On the left, the celestial court basks in resplendent glory, where the grandiose throne of God stands as the fulcrum of divine authority. Lucifer, once the bearer of light, now brims with pride, his voice filled with defiance echoing against the tranquil firmament. Behind him, a third of heaven's angels stand in rebellious formation, their eyes flicking with the uncertainty of their chosen path. Opposite stands Michael, the stalwart archangel, his armor a radiant cascade of celestial hues. The loyal angels behind him mirror his resolve, their wings unfurled triumphantly, faces set with solemn determination. The air quivers with anticipation. An ethereal cadence sets the stage for the ensuing celestial war. The heavenly skies, hitherto unbroken, now crackle with streaks of divine luminescence. As words turn into the clash of ideology, swords of pure glory and righteousness are drawn. The central tableau captures the moment of conflict, angelic beings in a lissome dance of combat, darting in midair as blasts of ethereal energy cascade around them. Lucifer, wrapped in darker armor, fights valiantly against the emanations of divine power. His expression is of intense conviction, tinged with a growing desperation. But in a moment of heightened climax, a radiant beam of divine authority cascades toward him, sealing his fate. His wings, once resplendent, begin to darken, feather by feather, as the weight of rebellion crushes him downwards. He falls, a living metaphor of light corrupting to shadow, blazing across the sky like a vanishing comet. To the right, Eden rises, an untouched paradise of luminescent beauty and serenity. Rivers of light meander through the verdant landscape where Adam and Eve walk hand in hand, their faces aglow with the innocence of new life. The garden exudes peace, but near the heart of this untouched splendor stands the enchanted tree, lush in verdancy, with a serpent, silver-scaled and mesmerizing, bides his time. The serpent, with the intelligent eyes of its master, watches with sinister curiosity. Lucifer, in his beguiling form, exudes an ancient wisdom wrapped in persuasive charm. With deliberate calm and a subtle smirk, he leans towards Eve, his whispers a deceitful lullaby that dances in the air. The fruit, ensnared in forbidden allure, pulses gently with a radiant glow, an embodiment of choices yet unmade. Thus, from celestial rebellion to earthly betrayal, connecting glory, defiance, exile, and the tendrils of corruption. This is a journey from divinity to deception, casting the first skeletal shadows on the dawn of humanity. On the edge of a fading light, Adam and Eve walk alone, wrapped in rough, colorless cloth, their feet touching soil that had never known pain until now. Each step they take is heavy, not with exhaustion, but with exile. Behind them, the gates of paradise are firmly shut. A celestial guardian, an angel with a flaming sword, stands vigilantly, a beacon of golden luminescence emanating from beyond the verdant gates, hinting at the lost wonder. Centuries flutter by like the pages in an old tome. Humanity proliferates, their numbers burgeoning across the landscape. Perched upon a lofty cliff stands Lucifer, an embodiment of shadow and grace, surveying the world below. He is no longer the radiant angel, but has yet to devolve into monstrosity. His presence is regal, sophisticated even, though darkened by his own machinations. At his feet spread early human settlements, a primitive tapestry of emerging civilization. Interspersed among the rough constructs are nascent towers reaching skyward, primitive altars adorned with offerings, and kings entrenched upon thrones, their gazes hollow, reflecting the unfortunate absence of divine light. An effulgent idol commands reverence as the people bow, oblivious to the insidious influence of their shadowy patron. As the timeline progresses to the right, the burgeoning Tower of Babel dominates the scene, its ambitions climbing toward a heaven swathed in angry, swirling clouds. The chaos of construction vibrates through the air, the shouted commands, the grating sound of stone grinding against stone as it is lifted upwards. Lucifer, this time in deceptively beguiling human guise, orchestrates the labor. With a mere whisper and an enigmatic smile, skyward ambition falters as divine light pierces the storm, a tide of confusion dispersing the workers in unwitting submission to celestial will. Stones crack, tumbling earthward as the immense structure yields to divine provocation. Amidst this upheaval, Lucifer recedes into the clinging shadows, his visage a haunting interplay of light and darkness. His gaze, far-seeing and indomitable, is steadfastly fixed upon lands unspoiled, empires yet unborn, whispering the promise of future dominions. Adam and Eve walked on, their forms unchanged since Eden, their simple garments still clinging to the memory of innocence lost, their faces marked by awe, sorrow, and wonder. And watching from afar, hidden yet ever present, was Lucifer, reflected heaven's light, now twisted by pride. The world had fallen into darkness. Empires rose through blood and pride. Mankind bowed to idols of stone and kings who claimed divinity. And beneath it all, Lucifer ruled, not with a throne, but with whispers and shadows that shaped history. But then, in a forgotten stable, in a town too small for kings, light returned. Not as a sword, not as fire, but as a child, born not to royalty, but to a virgin, wrapped not in gold, but in swaddling cloth. And yet, in that fragile form, beat the heart of heaven's power. The prophecy was alive. The word had become flesh. Lucifer felt it. He saw it, and he feared it. He tried to end it early. A massacre of innocence. A crown of blood before the child could speak. But heaven protected its promise. Years passed, and the boy became a man. Not a warrior, but a healer. Not a conqueror, but a teacher. And still, Lucifer waited, until the man stood alone in the wilderness, hungry, tired, yet unshaken. Face to face, the adversary made his final offer. Bow to me, and I will give you the kingdoms of the world. But the son did not fall. He did not take the shortcut to glory. He chose the path of pain, the path to the cross. Lucifer watched as the nails were driven. He smiled when the sky turned black. He thought he had won when the sun breathed his last. But death was not strong enough to hold the light. 3 days later, the earth shook. The grave split open, and Jesus, alive, rose in victory. He descended into the very heart of death. And there, face to face once more, he took the keys from the fallen one. Lucifer, once the morning star, was now the defeated prince of shadows. Stripped of his power, crushed beneath the weight of the one he could not corrupt. The prophecy was fulfilled. He shall crush your head. And though the war for human souls still rages, the end is already written. Lucifer's kingdom is crumbling. The throne he sought was never his, and the crown now rests on the head of a risen king. The light has returned, and darkness will never overcome it.